I'm Stu Davies. I'm the head of agency of Creative Bloom. There we go. Creative Bloom, our search marketing agency, and we specialize in what we call helping the good guys. So green businesses, charities, and good local businesses with their search marketing and getting found in Google. Now, I personally, I practice human SEO. That is SEO so humans can understand it. So I promise you this will be a jargon-free, non-tech speak session. Okay, and I'm going to speak to you today about search marketing trends for 2022. What we're seeing as some of the things that you can use as tactics in your jobs, they're going to get you ahead of the curve. Okay, so but before I get started with that, let's just jump into some technology, because not everybody, some terminology, not everybody's on the same page when it comes to search engines. Okay, so just a few acronyms to explain. SE, we love acronyms in marketing, so you will have to bear with us if you are marketers. You will get it. So the acronym SEM stands for Search Engine Marketing. So a search engine is something like Google, and we can market using various features within the search engine. Okay. And then SEO is search engine optimization. So that is the process of optimizing our websites, trying to get our websites to rank higher so they appear higher in the listings. The difference between the two, I would say, is SEM includes things like paid advertising, digital advertising. It can have local SEO. So there's a few different features. I'm going to explain some of those features that are available to us as marketers for search engine marketing. Okay. So again, following with the acronyms. So the acronym SERP, a search engine results page. Okay, so this is a SERP. We see these every day. Okay, so it is the actual physical page that Google or other search engines will display to you. Okay, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time today talking to you about SERPs. Okay, we then got Google Shopping. Okay, so this can appear here. So this is actually advertisers. It's quite retailers will generally use this function, e-commerce, and it's a way to get your kind of product listings onto Google's listings. We talk about PPC or Google AdWords or Google advertising. So we can see this one here. This is actually an advert. So what we're doing here is we're actually paying to be the top of those listings for a particular search term. So this particular search term was cameras for sale. Okay, and I can't see if you can see that. MPB have got the top bid for that. So that's what we talk about, PPC, pay per click. And how that works is, you're only going to pay for the clicks that you get from the users clicking through into your website. We then talk so organic listings. So this is where SEO kicks in. So organic listings are the organically grown listings of the website. So it's how high you rank for a particular search term. This is what SEO will do for you. If you invest in SEO, you should be higher up in your organic listings. So in this particular search engine, eBay actually has the top organic listing for cameras for sale, for digital cameras for sale. Okay. A few of the features that we can see in generally we see in the SERPs these days. So there's this one here called the map pack. Okay, so this gets triggered for local searches. So again, I'll talk a little bit about this, but algorithms work differently depending on whether Google thinks or knows you are doing a local search. Okay, so if you do a local search, your map pack comes up and it's trying to present you with local businesses rather than national. That's what happens when we see that this Google map. And then, a recent feature over the last, say, 5 years is what we call featured snippets, or people also ask panels. So that sees where we see kind of, questions that Google's presenting to us around the search term, and we can click on those and either answers the question in a short little snippet, or we can click through onto the site. So the landscape has changed a lot in the last few years. Okay, but before I start diving into some of the top trends, what I want to do is just kind of scale things back and just do a little bit of how search engines work 101 before I then go into some of the more advanced things that we think are going to help with your search marketing in 2022. So if we look at a history of searching, and especially search engine optimization, so the word search engine optimization. I think simplistically what that means is we are optimizing signals. Now, the word optimizing means that we are improving and we are continuously improving. Okay, so the SEO is a bit of a marathon. Okay, and we use the word signals. So we on and off of the website to get it to show up when people search. Now, the most important word in that sentence is people. If you can get your head around, this is always one of our biggest kind of takeaways for search engine optimization. If you can really just get your head around how people search for what you do and the different ways that they could search for what you do, and then we create some of those signals on and off of our website, then you are going to be present when and how those people search. So that's where kind of the art meets the science of SEO. And I'm going to do a little bit of a SEO 101 with you, just to go through how some of those basic fundamental aspects of SEO work. So let's just talk about how search engines work. Okay, so search engines are looking for a number of things from our websites. Okay, so they're looking for authority. They want to know that we are an authority in what we do. Okay, so if, for instance, when I did that cameras search on the previous slide, we could see that eBay was actually one of the top lists, because eBay is a very authoritative website. It's a huge website. It's got loads of suppliers in it. It's got a lot of traffic. Google sees that as being an authority, okay? And it has a way of creating, I guess, an authority score. Say it was out of 100 for websites. And there are things that we can do to try and influence our authority, the amount of content on and off of our website, and plus the amount of incoming links from other websites, from high quality websites that we've got coming into our websites. Google's also looking for relevance. Okay, so, and this is kind of what I was talking about before. So, what people are searching for, and the signals and the content that you put on your website, you can influence relevance. So you can influence the signals that Google will put your website in the mix for searches. Okay, and that's where the work comes in. So, what are people searching? How do they search? At what part of their journey from marketing of maybe not knowing what it is you do, or having a problem, or actually knowing what you do you anchor those signals in? So with relevance, with content signals, we can influence how the search engines will decide to index or display some of our content. And does anyone remember Tron? Maybe it's too old. So Google wants also to know these days that you're putting users first. So it wants slick, quick websites. It wants websites that have got what we call friendly user experience, okay, good mobile use as well. So Google's also looking at that in its ranking factors. Okay, so then what happens is Google's friendly AI bots, which apparently has feelings now, this is it here, then searches the entire, basically its job is to crawl the entire internet. Okay, now that is a big job if you think how big the internet is, and it is getting bigger every second. Okay, so if what we can do is we can just make sure that Google is very clear about what our pages are about, and nice and focused, and I've got a nice clear structure on my website. So our friendly Google AI bot then puts it all together. So it'll pull your authority signals, it pulls your relevance signals, and pulls your user signals, also versus your competition and other competing resources online. And all we're doing is when we enter a search engine, you are just, and in that little box on Google, you're just interfacing with this huge algorithm that the friendly AI bot has kind of collected all of that data from you, and it's deciding how to display the results. Okay, so that's how search engines are functioning. Okay, also it wants to know these days that you're local. Okay, if you're a local business, there are things that we can do, signals that we can put onto our website to tell Google, hey Google, I'm a local business, show me in the local results. Okay, not the national. I don't really need to sell to Plymouth or to Torquay or to Skegness. I just want to sell in Brighton. So there are things that we can do on and off. So that's generally what the search engines are looking for. Okay, so it is our job as SEOs and marketers to make sure that our websites, or our client websites, if we have clearly signposted them to Google and to users what they're about, okay? And we can do that with very clear structure of the website. We can do that with very clear signposting and focus on the content of the pages. So Google knows, oh, I know that this is a digital marketing website, and there's the SEO page, and there's the SEM page, and there's the Google advertising. I can see very clear what these pages are about. Okay, so it's our job to make sure that Google can find its way around our websites nice and easy. Bigger websites can have bigger problems. Okay, especially when you start getting into the world of e-commerce and kind of complex different product channels and different ways to find the products. That's when it can become a bit more complex. Okay, so. But how does Google, and why does Google rank one website over another? How does it decide to say, okay, I'm going to show, in our example I showed you before, it had eBay top versus other people. How is it actually going to do that? Well, one of the things, we talk about is just make sure you're not just broadcasting, okay, not just broadcasting, what it is you do, and you're actually kind of thinking and you're structuring your content in terms of what actually are people going to need when they arrive here? What are the actual main things that my client or my clients are going to need to serve as useful and relevant content to their clients? There are 3 pillars of SEO, okay, that you compete with in your space. Now, I am not going to go through all of this in this session, okay? There are lots of SEO courses, and this is what I call SEO fundamentals, because I want to talk to you about some of the advanced stuff. But you're always, as SEOs, we're always kind of playing whack-a-mole in one of these 3 pillars, okay, versus your competition or your client's competition. So we've got what we call on-page SEO, okay? So that is the type of the keywords, the content, the signals that we put onto our page, those relevancy signals as well, what we call markup, my images, how I link it internally, all of this stuff, okay, is what we call on-page SEO. You then got off-page SEO. So that is presence or citation of your website on others' websites. It's an important part of Google's landscape, and it's an important part of how Google will give you authority. So it's looking at links on other websites, it's looking whether you've got guest posts on other websites, whether you've got citations, it will have a look at some of your social signals as well, et cetera, et cetera. So an important SEO strategy needs to have off-site and on-site SEO as well. And then you've got technical, okay? So there is technical, especially for bigger complex websites, you have to invest a little bit into technical. So it's got to be quick, got to be easy. You've got to have index management. And what we mean by that, if you've got a big complex website with lots of different ways to find stuff, that's all got to be managed so Google can find its pathways quite easily. And we can also, structure our data and structure our website in such a way. So again, I'm not going to talk about this is SEO 101. Okay, these are your 3 pillars. And as an SEO strategy, what you want to do is work out where you're strong or weak in some of these areas, and then have a look at your competitors and see where they're strong or weak in some of those areas. And you want to be prioritizing those areas which you feel you are less strong in. So the important thing is not just shouting loud about how great you are as well, so it's all about coming up with those content ideas that's going to get you noticed online, okay? And it's a little bit different, okay? So there we go. It's got rid of Donald. Was that easy? We wish it was that easy. Okay. And from a content perspective, okay, Google is also looking for expertise, authority, and trust. And, if you think about the sheer amount of content that is already out there, all right, so how does Google have any way of working out whose content is more valuable or not? So, being an expert in a topic is, for what you do, is quite important these days. So we're called topic clusters. So, stay in your lanes, pick your topics, write a lot about it, okay? And then you can kind of bolt stuff on and off of your website and kind of try and be an expert in smaller niches rather than being too broad. So, for Creative Bloom, our voice is very, very highly tailored on, the local SEO guides is kind of, a lot of our content is on there. We try and stick in that lane, and also marketing for green businesses. And we don't go too much around outside for our content strategy in some of the wider, broader SEO elements, because we could, but we're just kind of staying in our lane, staying in our niche. Then Google's associated us with local SEO more, which is kind of, where we want to be, and also around kind of marketing for green businesses. So you've got to think about where you want to kind of aim for, and make sure you're kind of putting those signals. You can get guest posts, you can get experts to write for you, you could write on other people's websites, and make sure that everything is cited as well if you're kind of using links. Again, you can Google EAT and how to set up your website for EAT, expertise, authority, and trust for SEO. And it will give you a bit of a checklist of sorts of things to do on your pages and things to do on your site to be able to kind of hit some of those signals. So again, this is SEO 101. Okay, this is some of the basics, the fundamentals that we have, like everyone needs to get covered, and then that's kind of a leveler. So that's the basic covered. So here's the stuff to do to smash it. Okay, this is the added value. This is sort of the stuff on top. So pay attention to the SERPs. Okay, we love an acronym. Okay, so Google has changed the deal, right? So previously, as an SEO, I could play in one or two spaces. I could either pay for advertising and now try and get in one of the top 4 spots, nice and easy, or we just had to optimize our client site and we would be, beneath the adverts. That was it. It was that simple. And then image search came in later, but that was a separate tab. It was nice and easy. But Google has now changed the deal. Okay, so this is a SERP, search engine result page, did recently of Gatwick to Paris flights. Okay, and what you can see here is what some of you might start to see it. It says flights from London Gatwick to Paris, France, all airports, www.google.com/flights. Google doing flights? No, it's not. Google is now starting to, what we call in the industry, steal the SERPs, the SERP results, okay? And what's happening here is Google is starting to take information from other people's websites and showing it on the Google search engine result page so you don't leave Google, okay? So you don't leave Google. So you answer your search query on Google, okay? And that's what it's trying to do. So what we're seeing in the industry is a plateauing of total searches, okay? It's not going up anymore. It's starting to actually go down. In terms of click-throughs, we're seeing a decreasing amount of click-throughs to clients' websites. We're seeing cannibalization of popular queries and voice search being answered on Google's search engine result page. So someone types in a question, instead of coming to my client's website, because I've answered the question, they can just read the answer on the Google SERP and stay there, and they don't click through, and they're not following my client's marketing funnel. More results are being answered entirely by the search engines. So it's greater competition, and it's much harder for new entrants, because not only are we just trying to, compete in the organic listings, suddenly I'm competing with Google on a lot of things as well. And some research has shown that on average, 50% of all searches result in a 0-click search, okay, which is significant. That's a significant amount of searches, okay. The bastards, I know what you're thinking, right? This is what I said, exactly what I said. So what are we going to do? What can we do? Well, fear ye not. Okay, so one of the key takeaways is do invest in SEO, squeeze out as much as you can. You've still got to be competitive within there. So if you don't have a good SEO strategy, haven't really paid much attention to it, make sure you get some of those fundamentals right, and you're in that mix, and you're kind of working out what keywords you're going to go for or not, and what your content strategy is. Still important to be in that mix. But what we can do is we can pay attention to what Google is actually showing on the SERPs, the search engine result pages, for your brand or for search terms, okay? And we can try and make sure that we're present in some of those SERP listings. So let's just have a look at an example here. So say I search for cameras for sale, okay? So this is what I want to do. When you get home, search for your brand, your name, and also search for a couple of different keyword combinations for what you do. And then write down what you are seeing in the SERPs, okay? So potentially in this one, okay, I can see, well, Google Shopping. So actually, if I'm selling cameras, I want to make sure I'm in the shopping, because it's pulling it on the top of the feed. Okay, I've got digital advertising. I can see that the map pack is actually present, so therefore I need SEO. I've got featured snippets, therefore I need to invest in long tail content. So, and this will be different for different sectors. Okay, so you might see images there. You might see a lot of third party websites that are actually kind of listing your type of business. You might see videos, lots of YouTube. So again, just paying attention to what is coming up on the SERPs and writing down, go, okay, that's actually an opportunity for me to get my brand into that thing, or it direct you to a certain course of action, such as local SEO. Local SEO is optimizing signals. Remember, we talked about signals again. So it's keywords, content, relevance, how well I am linked to others' websites on and off of a website to get it to show up in a specific geographic area. Okay, and again, so if you're a local business and you've got a physical location in a specific place and you're selling to a specific market, then you need to invest and get your head around local SEO. Again, I'm not going to go into the depth of it here, but just trying to give you a bit of a flavor for where you might need to steer once you kind of start doing some of that SERP research. So basically, if you see the Mac pack come up for what you do, you need to invest in local SEO. Okay. And because the ranking, the algorithm is different, okay, it's quite different, but it's also, I think it's a bit easier for a smaller business to punch above their weight with local SEO. So, the signals are different. And, one of the important things in local SEO and just for our businesses in general is owning our space. So there's a Google Business profile, there's a Bing Places profile, there's an Apple Maps Connect profile. If you don't have any of these, you will not show up for any voice search through any of the voice assistants. You won't show up in local search because you're not in any kind of the map search. And it's a great way to kind of display and advertise your business, okay? And particularly in local SEO, how you interact with your Google business profile is worth about a third of the ranking factors, okay? And you don't need an advanced SEO strategy to be in there, okay? It's quite easy to do. So again, Google, how to optimize my Google business profile. If you're a local business, and there's be some nice little steps that you can do that's straight away easy to implement, okay? The Google Business page, okay, it's like your new homepage as well. So you need to consider it. When someone searches for your brand name, that you've paid some really good attention to it. Okay, you've got good reviews, you've got good photos, you've used the question answer panels, you're using the posts. You've gone into actually the interface itself and answered all the information that Google's asking you to provide, such as opening hours, bank holidays. Safety is still a thing around COVID. So, you've got to have all that information on there. And trust me, Google is looking at some of this information and it is using it in its ranking factors. So how you operate and interface with the Google business profile is quite important. And people will, if they Google your name and they I think, and they say, you haven't bothered to change your street view. It's the back of the bins where your office is and you've got one review, you've not paid much attention to it and there's nothing there. They're less likely to trust you, okay? Remember I said trust is an important factor for Google. Well, it's also for users as well. So make sure you have shown your Google business profile a bit of love. And, it's an easy interface to work with. So every time you log in, just, note what Google's asking you to do. Ignore the advertising. It's always trying to get you to spend your money. But, okay, Google businesses like yours are posting. Oh, maybe I should post because Google's telling you to do it. Pay attention to what it's doing. So again, it's a very, very simple interface to use, and it can make such a difference paying a bit of weekly love to it on if you're a local business. Okay, so the other thing to do with the SERPs is optimize your images. I don't know how many clients we do audits for, and they just haven't put keywords in any of the images. It's a great way to double up on your search potential. A lot of people use image search, a lot of SERPs will show images for the search. So make sure, it's a great way to keyword stuff to really kind of, go overboard and go, right, yeah, SEO in Brighton, PPC in Brighton. So make sure you're in there. We've got all your branded photos as well. So, you can, we can put a keyword on an image, something called alt text. So Google can't see the image. Maybe it can, but from an SEO perspective, it doesn't see the image. It sees the keyword that you've kind of put in your website with the image. Now, one of the top tips that we do in the agency is search for what you do and then note Google's categories for what it is you're trying to optimize for. That's your keyword categories. So, if I'm searching for bagpipes, I want to have cartoon bagpipes, Scotland bagpipes, etc., because these are more likely to get my images shown in Google's core categories for the images as well. So align your image is the keywords you add to it based on some of the categories that you're seeing when you're kind of typing in what you do. Another thing to look at is when we're looking at the SERPs is, I typed in Brighton consultant and the first listing it showed me was this. Okay, so it said, Google said, find results on these third-party listings. So I've got Yelp, whatever that is, Carpacks, and Facebook. Okay, so I need to make sure I'm present and I have got good listings, well optimized, I've paid some attention to on Yelp, on whatever that is, and make sure that my Facebook's there as well, because that's what Google's showing. Google's saying, yeah, if you're searching for Bryant Consultant, I'm going to put these directories at the top of the pile. So make sure you're present on them. It's an opportunity for me. Someone clicks on Yale. If I've done my work on Yale, then there'll probably be a little bit of work to do on there, to get, unfortunately, a lot of these listings, we've got to work out how the algorithms work on there as well. But generally, it's kind of, just keep it maintained, keep putting in photos, post something now and again, etc. Be active on there, and they generally kind of push you up in the listings. Send reviews to it, that sort of a thing. So you've got to work out for your industry which of these areas gets presented in the SERPs, and make sure you're on there and you've got a well-presented profile on those areas. Okay. So this is what we said, and some sectors are dominated by third-party websites. So I typed in camping in Sussex, and you can see that all of these are, here's our SERPs. That's a third-party website listing campsites. That's a third-party website listing campsites. Another third-party website listing campsites. In fact, this is all third-party websites listing campsites. So I need to be cited on there. I need to have good profiles. And for this particular industry, their actual website probably might not rank so well, apart from when people are searching on the map. But if we can make sure we've got very good, well-presented listings within these ones, then we've got a chance. And also I can have a crack at answering some of these questions and a picture and appear in some of these knowledge panels. Okay, but again, the site needs to be associated with a certain topic or theme, which is why I was talking to you about kind of topic clusters. Okay, so that's paying attention to the search engine result page. So now I'm going to talk to you about the AI. Okay, there's a lot of talk at the minute about AI powered SEO, and this is the thing. So the AI will. I was going to show which one of these to cross out. Make our lives better or destroy us. But the AI is constantly evolving, okay? And I guess the key message, and the AI, the Google bots, okay? How Google works, all right? This is constantly getting more sophisticated. It has machine learning. It's starting to get scary. Is it going to destroy us or make our lives better? I'll let you decide. However, okay, I do get asked the question a lot as well, can you be ahead of the curve with the AI? Can you game it? And the answer is no, okay? I think the answer is no. I think in terms of order, to beat the AI or to be on the platform with the AI, you've got to put the hard work and you've got to put those basics on. So we're back to SEO Room 101, all right, okay? Well-organized website, a thought-out strategic editorial, and you've got to hit the 3 pillars that I showed you before. You've got to tick all of those things. Because the AI is all it's going to do is just penalize websites that aren't performing well, that it can't understand what's going on. So if we've just got those kind of some main basics in place, I think you're always going to, and you've got quick, modern, responsive websites, you're always going to be in a place where you're not going to get penalized by the AI, however Google decides to update it. But what you can do is keep your fingers on the pulse. So Search Engine Journal or Search Engine Land are really great resources, and they will tell you, especially if you're interested from an SEO perspective, when the Google updates are coming. Now, they always come out a year ahead in America, so you've got a year to plan for it. So if you've got a nest of client websites and they're pretty slow, or got poor mobile UX, Search Engine Journal will tell you what's happening and the main things that are probably going to get impacted. So you've got a year to prepare for it usually. So again, and there's certain people you can follow on Twitter, and you'll kind of pick up those people from resources like that. So you can keep your finger on the pulse and actually have an idea of what's going to come through and change. And also, it'll also tell you a history of when the AI has changed and how it's changing its ranking factors, because that's what it's doing. It's just changing the ranking factors. So you can at least have some kind of an idea of, actually, something changed last May and our traffic went down. Oh, right. It's because, our site was a bit too slow, and let's upgrade the server. Let's get some image compressors on, those sorts of things. So it's just useful to help tie it up. We can use something called schema markup or structured data. It is code we'll add to the website. Again, it can be a little bit technical. So you probably need a search agency or a developer to help you with this. But basically what we do is tell the search engine what our website is about. So if I'm events, I can give it event markup, or products, or local business, or professional services. Just helps the search engines know a little bit more about what our website is about. So it doesn't have to guess, because I've actually put it in the code. this website is a local business. We are open from 5 to thing. We serve in this area, blah, 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 blah. So again, I'll put a little link in here. I think these slides will be shared afterwards, and you guys can hit up some of those resources if you're interested in that aspect. The other top tip for 2022 is long form and voice search. Okay, so I've shown this a few times, and you might see these whenever we search. These are called people are also ask panels, they're also called featured snippets or knowledge panels. But what it's basically doing is when someone types in a question, or when you use your phone to voice search, all that's doing is Alexa and all of those bots, friendly bots, are putting your question into a search browser. That's all it's doing, okay? So it's long form content. And so what we can do is we can try and preempt what some of those questions are going to be and then write content on our website. So we've got a chance of appearing for some of these questions. So if I've got a page, what are some examples of digital marketing? If I've got a page called, here are some examples of digital marketing, and I answer it, I've got a chance of getting in this knowledge panel. And they appear right at the top of the SERPs, okay, above the organic listings. So all that SEO work that everyone's done, you've got a chance of being in there. And if they like what they read on that snippet, they are likely to click through. So voice search, you need to be conversational. It's got to be long form. It is a bit of an investment in content, but it can help, especially in competitive environments, to get good traction for your content. Okay, so mobile UX and speed. So Google is continuously creating updates where it's penalizing less friendly websites for mobile, slower websites as well. So especially if you sell to consumers, the proportion of searches on mobile desktop is every year increasing much more onto mobile devices. So make sure you have got what we call mobile first design. So next iteration of your website, or if you've got a bit of budget, check out, we design it on mobile first, and then we design out the desktop view from that. And you will have very, very good mobile optimization for doing that. An example here, this poor optimization, it's just taken the desktop, the main screen, and it squeezed it down. And I can't read any of it, and I can't see any of the buttons. Whereas this block here is actually optimized. I can read it in the mobile, but nice, easy buttons. It's got a nice navigation. I can easily get my way through. Okay. Most website builders today will have good mobile optimization, but it's still important. We still see some websites that just kind of do that trick of just squeezing stuff down. So got to be good for users to be able to see it on mobile. Because more people search on their phones. It's not true for every sector. Some B2B sectors, business to business, you're still going to have that 9 to 5 desktop, which is fine, but Google does rank a lot of websites mobile first these days. So it would rank your mobile performance before your desktop. So just something to have in mind. And page speed, we should always like monthly, quarterly, just running speed tests. Okay, so I put a couple of tools here. And what it'll do is it'll give you a grade of how quick your website is, and it'll give you a list of stuff to fix. Now, I'm going to be honest, I haven't got a clue what any of that stuff means. I'm a human SEO. Now, we're getting into tech speak there. But what I know is I've got a grade B, and I just want to benchmark, load time of 1 to 2 seconds. That's pretty good. On mobile, we want to kind of be aiming for, at least kind of 2 or 3 seconds load minimum. And, if you've got a developer, all right, or someone you can work with, and you've got a low grade, just send them this report or send them a report and say, look, they're saying the website's slow. Here's a list of stuff. Help me with it. Generally, it will be 1 of 3 things. Okay, it will be you can upgrade your server that you're on. If you're on like a crappy host with, a big American company, I'm not going to say their name, but you're sharing a little bit of space with 10,000 other businesses. So you can always upgrade your hosting. Okay, it could be images or videos. Websites bloat over time, and we've kind of put too much stuff on there. You can put compressors on there, and it will just make the images smaller and just makes the loading. Or it could be actually how the website actually loads when people arrive. It's what we call rendering, again, or caching. Those are words. If you don't understand what I mean, speak to your developer or speak to an expert to help you with those. But we always need to be looking at speed, okay? increasingly important, and Google does pay a lot of attention to it. Okay, so nearly through. Video SEO, top for 2022. What we're seeing is a huge amount of video content being produced by websites. Now, videos are very engaging. Okay, extremely engaging. You know, you can use them for kind of social media. And the key thing about if you're gonna use video as a form of content marketing is make sure you've written a transcript page for it as well. Okay, so you've got a well-optimized kind of page as well as the video. And if you always host your videos online on YouTube, because that's Google owns YouTube. All right, on Vimeo, they're not going to get into the SERPs, but on YouTube, Google will present your videos if you've marked it up properly in the mix in the SERP. So again, I've put a bit of a link in there on how to do YouTube SEO. So you're getting 2 bangs for your buck there. You're also in the search engine, but you're also in YouTube's native search as well. So always try and host your videos on YouTube. And here we go. Here's just an example showing how to search for randomly. Tick video and the top video. Here we go. It's funny. It had a YouTube embed. Okay, so the website's embedded it in YouTube. They've also optimized it in YouTube, and you know this is a well-optimized page. How a tick digital continue, and then it's got a big transcript beneath it as well. Always put subtitles on your video as well, so people can kind of read them when they're on the train. Quietly, a lot of research has shown that subtitles on a video are more likely to get click-throughs and engagement than those without. Okay, so my final tip for you guys for 2022, which I have kind of touched upon as well, is what we call topic clustering. And I've said this before, this is where your expertise, authority, and trust comes from, but it's kind of really going to town on it. Okay, now, if you want to know a lot more about this, I think HubSpot have got an excellent academy and guide about topic clustering. Okay, but it's the fact that I'm going to pick my pillar content. So for Riz, it was local SEO. So I really want to be found for local SEO. And then what you do is you then do kind of keyword research, what we call up and downstream, based on what people are searching for. And I'll show you what that kind of looks like. So, people want to know questions, want to go, want to do, want to buy questions. And then also think about how your user journeys work. People don't know what it is they're asking for. People do know. And if you're creating content on those areas, and you start to create it on and off of your website, you're then going to be present all throughout, the idea is you're present all throughout a potential user search journey and become an expert in that sector. So topic clustering is a really good way. So rather than just kind of like chucking stuff out, okay, we're really kind of lasering and focusing on things. And also you're trying to get content on and off of your website as well. So kind of partners, friends, and the like in there. So there is an excellent search tool called Answer the Public, which is free to use. You get like 2 daily uses, and then you can use it and you can type in a keyword or a search term, and it will give you all of the long tail content search queries that people are searching for that particular area. So that gives you your content strategy for the next year. So what are people searching for in Google for this thing? Oh, here's a report that gives it to me. So that is a really useful search tool, really going to help you form your content strategies and form those topic clusters. It was run by PropellerNet. I think it still might be, who are an excellent big Brighton agency. So it's a local company running it, and it's free to use. So this is a slide you need to take a photo of, and it's got just a summary of all of the things I've just kind of talked about in there on one list in terms of what to do to get above the curve and fill your SEO in 2022. So I won't read all of that there, just take a bit of a screenshot, but make sure someone finds John Connor, because the AI is coming for us. So I've been Stu Davies, head of agency of Creative Bloom. 2 call to actions from me. If you need any help, we do have drop-in digital clinics where we allocate an afternoon of the agency time just to helping any questions at all you need. Okay, anything at all. So you can find that on www.creativebloomrocks.com. And if you enjoyed my talk, there is a lot more of me and my team and guests on the Creative Bloom Boom, which is our podcast. Okay, thank you very much.